Giants running back Saquon Barkley suffered an injury to his right leg, somewhere between the ankle or the knee on this play. And in this video, we're going to try and dive into what exactly might have happened here and what could be going on in this whole pile to explain his injury. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Sutterer. My goal in this channel is to help teach about the medical side of the sports world. So if anatomy and sports interest you, then please consider subscribing to help support the channel and stay up to date. Let's dive right into this play here for Saquon Barkley. Now, there were some reports that he was seen with his ankle heavily taped up and iced after coming off of the field, and that would certainly fit with the two potential injuries that we could see with a play like this. So we're dealing with the right leg, which was, of course, the side that had his ACL reconstruction from the previous season. And if you look here, I want you to pay attention to how basically his right leg plants and is anchored into the ground in this position. What causes this whole injury is the Cardinals defender is basically falling onto Saquon's right leg. So his right leg is going to be here, and remember, underneath this area, his ankle is going to be fixed. His foot is going to be planted into the ground as this Cardinals player is falling in, and we see his knee getting pushed inward. It's not just about what's happening at the knee, though. What we have to remember is that there's also force being applied down at his ankle that's hidden in this position. And likely, his foot is going to be pointed off in this direction a little bit because that was the direction that Saquon was running. His foot came down planted, and so it's going to be pointed external or rotated outwards relative to the position of his tibia or his lower leg as he goes down to the ground. So then as this play continues, we're going to see, of course, his trunk, his torso is starting to fall over this way. Thankfully, his knee is flexed. His knee is being bent and pushed forward, which is going to put less load on something like his ACL. But during this whole time, his foot and ankle are still stuck, locked down here beneath this Cardinals player while his foot is pointed outward. So what's happening is we have an externally rotated foot with a knee that's going inward, putting forces particularly on the inside of his knee and potentially on the high ankle ligament down at his foot and ankle. We can't really get a good view, but again, you can just see how severe he's falling over that side while his right foot is still anchored, his right knee is being bent inwards. And if you pay attention here, if we back this up, we can try and figure out what shoe is Saquon's. And we can see here that he's got this red and black kind of Nike symbol in the bottom. So if we play this through, still don't see his shoe, and all of a sudden here at the very end, we start to see Saquon's shoe highlighted right down here at the bottom of this pile. And look again where it's pointing. That foot is pointed outwards, externally rotated, relative to this position of, right, his tibia is coming up, his femur, and then his trunk is all the way leaning over this direction. So a classic situation where we can see the mechanism for a high ankle sprain and potentially a knee injury, most often an MCL. If we look at our biodigital anatomy tool here, this ankle ligament that's shown highlighted in pink is the classic high ankle ligament. It's the AITFL, you might hear it referred to as the syndesmosis. It's the connection between the fibula, the bone on the outside of the ankle, and the tibia, which is the shin bone. That ligament is extremely important because it maintains this structure of the ankle called the mortise. It supports that joint from going outward and inwards as the ankle dorsi and plantar flexes up and down in this direction. So our ankle can bend up and down really well, but it doesn't want to point side to side very much. And so in this play, Barkley comes in, his foot is initially in this position, and then his knee gets bent down over this way while his foot is pointed out in that direction. So what happens is because of that, combined with the degree of knee flexion forward, that engages this ankle mortise, and it causes that ankle to push the tibia and fibula apart at that AITFL ligament, potentially causing that high ankle sprain. Up at the knee, the MCL ligament sits on the inside of the knee and can get bent whenever we have these kind of fallen over where the knee is really flexed and somebody's knee gets pushed inward. We often see an MCL or potentially a meniscus tear in those positions. But again, hearing about the ankle being taped, some ice over the ankle, I would certainly be concerned about a high ankle injury here with Saquon. So picture his ankle and foot in this position looking from behind with that high ankle ligament sitting right here between the fibula and the tibia. If we go back then to the play where this happened, we can wind this up and you'll see here Saquon comes in, his right foot is going forward. Eventually it's going to plant right there in the ground. His knee falls forward into flexion, which dorsiflexes the ankle, engaging the mortise, and then his foot is still going to be externally rotated as that tibia caves inward, potentially straining that high ankle ligament, as well as possibly the MCL up at the knee. Now, we talk about recovery time for these sorts of things. High ankle sprains can be a longer recovery, of course, than a traditional low ankle sprain because that ligament's more important for the stability of the joint. Now, these can be bad enough where the joint is unstable. If we do stress views on ultrasound and those bones completely fall apart from one another, that's something that requires surgery to repair. But even if it's not that bad, but it's a partial tear, that can still be on average around a month or so, especially for a running back to get in play return. So this is something that I don't see anything from the pile that would be like season ending. Even if he does have to have a surgery, that's something that players can come back the same season from. But high ankle sprain would be the concern here with Saquon, given what we just saw from how he went into that pile and hearing the reports about the ankle being taped and iced. That's it for the video, everybody. Let me know as always any questions or comments down below. And until next time, we'll see you later.